I found out my friend's husband is cheating on her, but she still believes his lies. Claire, 30F, and I, 30F, have been friends since our freshman year of high school. We met in our science class and bonded over the fact that we both hated science. We both had other friends, but we became each other's best friend. We talked for hours on the phone almost every night. We dressed up as duos for Halloween. We went to college together, roomed together, roommates after college. You get the idea, we were besties. She had a younger brother and I had an older brother, and we became the sister we both never had. Sounds cliché, I know, but we considered ourselves lucky that we had our science class together that year. Her parents were in the middle of a divorce, and I think it helped her to have someone understand and talk to her about it. She met her now husband through a coworker. They started dating 5 years ago and have now been married for 3 years. He was good to her and made her feel loved, and I never had any issues with him. They seemed happy together. Last week, Claire asked if I wanted to grab dinner because she wanted to talk to me about something that had been bothering her. She told me she felt like her husband was having an affair. She wanted me to help her figure out if her husband was cheating her. Claire said she knows the consequences of accusing him without proof, but she has this gut feeling that she can't shake. We made a plan for me to follow her husband on the night he had to work late. I understand how crazy this sounds now that I'm writing this out, but stick with me. I agreed to her plan, and she said he told her had to work late Thursday night. I didn't have any concrete plans and was able to do what she needed. Well, I confirmed her suspicions. He left his office and met up with a woman at a hotel bar for about an hour, and then they went upstairs, to a room, I assume. He was touching her leg at the bar, she was laughing with him and putting her hand on his shoulder. I would be uncomfortable if my boyfriend was at the bar touching another woman like this. I am not married, so correct me if I am wrong, but it just felt too comfortable. I snapped pictures of his hand on her thigh and of them walking to the elevator to go upstairs, and then I left. I went to my friend's house and she was beside herself with the evidence. I sent her the pictures so she would have them on her phone. I never heard back from her that evening. I called her the next morning and my call was declined, rang 2 times and went to voicemail. I texted her and did not hear anything back. By lunch, I was concerned and called again. Declined. Sent to voicemail. I called her office and she was out of the office today, but I could leave a message. She lives too far from my office to stop by on my lunch break. I heard nothing all afternoon and I was genuinely concerned for her. We normally talk at least once throughout the day. I went directly to her house after work. Her husband answered the door. She was standing behind him crying. He said he knew that I had fabricated pictures of him at a hotel and sent them to his wife. He said he was disgusted that I would try to break up their marriage. From behind him, Claire yells something like she trusted me and couldn't believe that I would try to ruin her marriage, and that his colleague confirmed to her that he was at work until 10 p.m. She didn't understand why I would make fake images of her husband at a bar. He said he always knew that I didn't like him and was just waiting for an opportunity to get him out of the picture, which is completely untrue. I have never had a problem with him until recently when Claire told me her concerns and I agreed that he had been acting differently. My best friend believes her husband over the actual proof that I provided her at her request. He told me that they wanted me to leave and to never come back. I was in freaking shock. So now I am here, completely heartbroken, asking what I should do. My friend is being cheated on by her husband. His reaction confirms that, and I am 100% certain of what I saw. I didn't fabricate pictures to try to break up their marriage. My friend asked me to do something and I did it. She's been my friend for 15 years. She was basically my sister, so I didn't hesitate. Do I try to convince her that her husband is lying? Do I sit back and let this play out? I am heartbroken over losing my friend, but I also feel if she was able to believe her husband so quickly over the evidence I gave her, that maybe there is nothing I can do. Conflicted is the word, I guess. I would appreciate advice because I just don't know where to go from here. My boyfriend told me to back off and just let it play out. He believes Claire's husband is cheating and is as confused as I am by the situation. Update: I checked my email after a long weekend and found a ton of Reddit messages. People were asking for an update and sending me a link to a TikTok post from a guy who reads stories. A lot has happened since I originally posted, and I am going to do my best to give you a short version. And also answer questions I saw in the comments. Answers: why not show her the location details on the images? Obviously, I did. I showed her all of the details. The location, the timestamp, everything. That was my first stop after I left her house. She saw the screenshots of the details, but never responded. Why didn't you FaceTime her? It's 2023. Yeah, I understand, but I've also never spied on anyone. I was nervous, felt ridiculous, and just wanted to get out of there. I assumed the pictures would be enough. I didn't FaceTime her because I honestly just didn't think of it. Now to the update. After I posted here and talked to my boyfriend, I decided to give my friend space. We went the longest we had ever gone without talking to each other, 6 days. I hated every second of it, but I felt like it was the best move. Well, she eventually reached out and asked if I could come to her house. Of course, I went immediately. When I got there, I saw my friend, but she didn't look like my friend. She looked like a shell of her former self. We hugged and she told me exactly what was happening. Her husband is apparently the king of emotional manipulation. When I went to her house after work, she knew that I was telling the truth and she was pretending to believe her husband because his initial reaction to the cheating accusations scared her. I guess there is a lot about their relationship that I didn't know. He has actually cheated before and Claire discovered it, but he repeatedly told her how much he loved her and how no one could ever love her like he loved her. No one else would want her if she left him because she would be divorced and disgusting. After going through her parents' divorce, she wanted to make her marriage work and ultimately decided to forgive him. I knew none of this, and it makes me incredibly sad for my friend. How did I not see this happening? I just never saw it. They always seemed so happy. She always told me everything and I never had any reason to suspect that she wouldn't. He spent the first 2 years of their relationship madly in love with her, but about 6 months after they were married, the emotional manipulation started. Her outfits weren't classy enough for his office, so he didn't want her to attend his work events anymore. She needed to make sure her hair stayed a certain length for her to be desirable to him. If she spent too much time with me, he would ignore her for days. He would purposely tell her how much he found other women attractive. There's more, but he is basically a disgusting waste of space. He never threatened to hit her and never physically harmed her, but the emotional damage he inflicted on my friend is going to be hard for her to overcome. So for that 6 days, she pretended to believe him. She played her part well enough. Then, he was officially out of town for business for the next 4 days. As soon as his plane was in the air, Claire reached out to me. I helped her pack what we could fit in our vehicles. I held her hand as she contacted her attorney to start the divorce process, which she did from my phone because at that point I had no idea what her husband was monitoring. We moved Claire into the guest room at my house. Her brother came over later that night and I helped her tell him everything. When her soon-to-be ex-husband came back and saw that she was gone and the note that Claire left with her attorney's information, of course, he came straight to my house. He yelled outside, pounded on the door, and demanded to talk to his wife. My boyfriend told him that Claire did not want to speak with him and asked him to leave. He wouldn't, so yes, the cops were called. They took statements and escorted him off of our property. He came back again the next day, and we immediately called the cops, and they were not nice the second time. Since then, everything has calmed down and he hasn't returned. He is of course smearing her reputation to all of their mutual friends. It bothers Claire, but I feel if they truly knew her, they wouldn't believe his word over hers. Their attorneys are officially communicating and hopefully the divorce doesn't take long. Claire seems better now that she is out of that situation, but I don't think she'll ever forget the way she was treated by him. Thank you for providing feedback and advice. Hopefully I don't have a reason to update again, but if I do, maybe it will be to tell you they are officially divorced.